Brian P. Kemp. Arrives in Quitman, Berks County, Georgia, at Royal Cafe, 301 East Screven Street, Quitman, Georgia, October 12, 2022. At 8:10 a.m. With the Ghetto Free Press reporting. On behalf of the public right to know. St. John 8:32, Joel 2 verse 1. G.B.R.
Press secretary.
Hmm?
I just wanted to. Well, this event is not open to press, so we can't.
I mean, I won't go in and report. I mean, I can't get out here, right?
Yeah. That's fine.
I figured that.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just wanted to make sure.
Appreciate that too, man. Yeah.
Members of the Quitman 10+2 Rally and Press Conference against Georgia Governor Brian P. Kemp. October 12, 2022 at 801 West Scriven Street, Quitman, Georgia, 31601. The Ghetto Free Press is reporting both events, but Brian P. Kemp event was not open to the public and press as heard in this video. I am George Boston Rhines, and I approve this truth for you on behalf of the public. Right to know across the state of Georgia without the whiteouts. St. John 8:32, Joel 2 verse 1.
Thank you all so much for coming today. My name is Asosa Osa. I am the Deputy Executive Director at Fairfight, and I'm joined today by members of the Quitman community, by members of the Quitman 10+2. Georgia has a long history of suppressing the freedom to vote among people of color and marginalized communities. But let's be clear, voter suppression is not some part of some sad and distant past. Under Brian Kemp, first through his role as Secretary of State when he purged over 1 million voters from the roll, and now as governor, as his allies challenged tens of thousands of voters' right to cast a ballot. The voter suppression that is in our state's history is alive and well today. From restricting access to the polls, to banning food and water in line, to criminalizing voters and community leaders, Brian Kemp has been the chief architect of Jim Crow 2.0 in the state of Georgia. And he has the audacity to come to Quitman, Georgia today. After Black women flipped the majority white school district, here in Quitman in 2010, Brian Kemp
response. Brian Kemp launched an investigation that led to these women being arrested and charged with 120 felony counts of voter fraud. Why? Because Brian Kemp could not accept that black women in Georgia organized, outperformed at the ballot box and create real change in their community. Overzealous law enforcement, a response to a local school board election, 120 felony counts, exacerbating racial divides, and a prime example of how voter suppression plays out on the local level here today. And despite an overwhelming lack of evidence, Kemp continued this years-long harassment as targets of his unfounded investigation fell further into despair. After enduring years of this harassment and mountains of legal fees, these baseless charges against the Quitman 10+2 were eventually dropped. 120 felony charges, 0 convictions. This level of aggression against black voters is not new, and we know that breaking democracy, for some, will break it for all. And sadly, the inhumane treatment of the Quitman 10+2 was only one example of Kemp's legacy of criminalizing black voters. Because after we turned out in record numbers in 2020 and the 2021 runoffs, we made history. And what happened? Brian Kemp passed one of the most restrictive voter suppression bills in the nation, going so far as to make it illegal to hand water to voters in line. We know why Kemp did this. He's afraid of our power. Through SB 202, Kemp has worked to push access to the ballot box as far out of reach as possible. But unfortunately for Brian Kemp, Georgia remembers in 2018 when he purged millions of voters from the polls. Georgia remembers the prosecution and the persecution of the Quitman 10+2. And Georgia remembers how he punished our historic voter turnout with SB 202. No matter the barriers erected by Kemp and his fellow anti-voter politicians, we will continue to turn out and make our voices heard. We will not be silenced. And so I am proud today to introduce one of the Quitman 10+2, Dr. Nancy Bernard, to get us started.
Good morning. I'm Nancy with Kemp Dinner. I'm the former mayor of the city of Quitman. But before I became mayor, I was always a community activist. I actively engaged my community in voting, on the ways to vote, how to vote, absentee ballot, in person, early. But we always talked about the issues that were in hand. So we really worked on voter education in our community. I'm here today because Governor Brian Kemp has the audacity to return to our city of Quitman on today to campaign, and I think that Georgia needs to remember, be reminded of the dark side of things that happened actually in Quitman. While he was Secretary of State, Brian Kemp sent armed law enforcement agencies to our homes, myself and 11 others. And we were arrested, charged, and taken to court on false charges of voter fraud. Our freedom is fundamental to democracy, but it's not always guaranteed, as we've seen in the last couple of years with Brian Kemp and his tactics to suppress votes, erase people from the vote rolls. Since he's been elected to government office, Brian has used his power to suppress votes, to eliminate our right to freedom to be heard. and that affects voters and their freedom and their ability to go to the polls and express their right to vote. He oversaw 1.4 million voter registrations canceled in Georgia. Again, 1.4 million voter registrations canceled. He had over 5,300 registrations that he had canceled shortly before the 2018 election. Again, it shows this didn't start yesterday. It goes back. Read up on us. Go back. 2010, Brian Kemp was at his antics then. He continues to do it. He uses a form of intimidation, voter suppression, and he's on those lives, those communities that are already disadvantaged. I can talk about my personal story. And had not me and my fellow superintendent persons not fought, do you realize today I would stand here as a convicted felon, unable to vote this election or the previous elections, or possibly be in jail? I was looking at 120 felony charges. Unfounded charges. We went to court 4 times before eventually the prosecutor decided, the judge and jury decided there was no guilt. Exonerated. Prosecutor erased all the other charges altogether, 11. But Brian Kemp continued in his position as Secretary of State and the State Election Board to have an open case. It wasn't in the summer of 2014 that the Secretary of State's Election Board dismissed the final charge. 4 years. 4 years of character assassination. 4 years of emotional turmoil. 4 years of our community just being harassed. We were constantly on the news. Our web shops were blasting every year. Our citizens began to question themselves. They began to question the process of voting. To this day, there are elderly people who have yet to go back to the polls, have not felt safe. Imagine having armed forces coming to your house with guns on their shoulders, and they're saying that if you might have done something wrong and you may go to jail. Traumatic. But we still fight. Georgia needs to be reminded. People need to develop a plan with your family, your community, your church members. Develop a plan to vote. When you're going to vote. What day? How are you going to vote? Are you going to do absentee? You're going to early vote before you get home. Develop a plan. Have constant conversations around the dinner table. Any social or a function threat, make sure that's part of your conversation. Not if you're going to vote, it's how are you going to vote? When are you going to vote? It's crucial, Georgia. It's crucial that we stand up and we demand our democracy. Your vote is the most powerful thing you have. There's so much at stake this year on the ballot. You have reproductive freedom, you have gun safety, access to good health care, and there's also the freedom to vote. All of that's on the ballot. You've got to have these conversations. It's very important to get people engaged in and going back to the polls just as it did in 2010. Make a plan to go vote early. We're encouraging everybody. Early voting starts Monday, October 17th. Make it your plan to be there on Monday, October 17th. So to see if we have any problems, we can correct them. To ensure that every vote cast is counted. Make your plans. Have your conversations. Let's show Georgia. Thank you. Now we're going to hear
over our head, wishing we do anything wrong. We put fear in our community. We went around to our black community and let them know that we can get out and vote. Now, large numbers of our black community voted, and they've been done for it this past. They got out and decided to like to vote. But that person being in education was our teacher. Our teachers know more about our kids. They know what our kids need. So our teachers in the election, they were qualified to be force for our children. Our children, they stay in the private. And they're better workers. We have the right to go out and ask them to get out and vote and can't get anything for their children. Don't allow fear, because the police came to your home, guns and everything. Don't allow fear to go out and vote. We get out and vote. Even though that it's certain time for us, when we went through this, don't let fear cause you not to go and vote. Go vote sometime. Early voting start October 17th. Spread the word. Get out and vote. Don't be fearful. Do what you got to do. Get out there and vote. Now you hear from Miss Diane, Dr. Diane Thomas.
I'm Dr. Diane Thomas. I'm appalled at the fact that Brian Kemp has the audacity to come to Quitman, Georgia, the town where he tried to keep me from being on the Board of Education, the town where he arrested, investigated, and then had arrested 12 people because we had the inspiration of trying to make sure our community, the community that we grew up in, the community that we graduated from, he did not want us to be out in our community getting people to voice their rights by voting. And when we did that, some members of the community did not appreciate the fact that when I got on the board, was elected on the board, it would change the makeup of our board. By doing that, they asked Brian Kemp, their friend, their counterpart, to come and do something that would change the results of the election for me being on the Board of Education. Now, the thing that gets me really mad is this. I was good enough to be a teacher. I did the same thing as a teacher when I was trying to be elected to get on the board. I knocked on doors as a teacher to get the parents to do what they needed to do. I went to their houses. I talked to the children. I called them on the phone. I did the same thing, but I didn't get arrested for that. As soon as I decided to run for the Board of Education, I knocked on doors. I asked people to vote for me. I was a good teacher. I didn't have to do much campaigning because my work as a teacher spoke for me. They knew if I was going to be the person like I was teaching, then guess what? I would be a good board member. It wasn't about what kind of board member I was going to be. They just didn't want me on there. They didn't want the makeup of that board to change. So Brian Kemp decided to investigate us so that his counterparts can shut up. He investigated us, and when they investigated, guess what? Their findings said there was nothing wrong, but he did not. He did not even look at his findings and say, we're going to drop this. He had us arrested. He had us arrested. Brian Kemp is doing the same thing that he did in 2010. the makeup of what it used to look like in the 60s, that's what he wants. 2010, Brian Kemp. Brian Kemp is doing the same thing right now. Same Kemp in 2010, same Kemp now. He does not want to change the makeup of what we would look like as Georgians who care about our state. Brian Kemp had 5 agencies to come to my house after I had won and my votes had been certified. To me, I thought I was done. Not according to Brian Kemp. They drove up to my house like I was a killer, like I had stolen something, like I was the worst person that you would even want. They even had the city police, they had the sheriff department, they had the state patrol, they had the state, his state people, and they had the G.B.R. They knocked on my door, like nothing. Like it was okay. Let's knock on her door. That same morning, I was supposed to go to G.B.R. Hospital to have an operation. Man knocked on the G.B.R. knocked on my door and said, "We're looking for Elizabeth Thomas." Okay, I'm Elizabeth Thomas. We have a warrant for your arrest. My arrest? Yes. I said, for what? For voter fraud. Voter fraud? Sir, I did nothing wrong. What are you talking about? We have an arrest. I said, sir, I'm supposed to be in Valdosta at 8 o'clock this morning to have an operation. He looked at me and said, let me call my superior. He called his superior and told him what I said. And he said, bring her ASS on. I got in the car. When I got in the car, he proceeded to take me to another member, patrol me through town so that we could be humiliated. Brian Kemp wanted us to look, that's suppression. That's suppression within itself. He needed those people to see, if you all continue to do what you are doing, the same thing that we're doing to them, you will get it too. How dare he patrol us through town, take me to Angela Bryant's house and pick her up too. This is Angela. And I looked at her, I was like, oh my God, what is going on? And I've never been, I didn't know what the CID building was. They took me to the CID building and proceeded to fingerprint me. Once they fingerprinted me, they told me to put on an orange suit. This is Brian Kemp. This is him saying, I love Georgia. I love Georgia. But you need to do what, you need to vote the way I need you to vote. Otherwise, you are not doing the right thing. They put me on an orange suit, photographed me, put my mug shot on the web to let people know we just arrested your so-called best of the best of Quitman, Georgia. How dare he do that? How dare he come to Brooks County and do a fundraiser to raise money after you have arrested? Do you realize what he has done? He did to our family members. The trauma that he put my child through while he was in school, the trauma he put my family through. I was good enough to be a teacher, but I'm not good enough to be a board. Kemp has changed. When I think about how I grew up, I remember going to the side of this ice cream place to get ice cream. I remember going to the back of the Royal Cafe to get a hamburger. Okay? The same thing was going on in the 60s
Brian is doing. That's voter suppression. He's saying that he's made the request for a ballot. You got to have a certain amount of time to get a request. Then you got to have a certain amount of time to return it. He's changed the rules. Remember in the 60s they used to ask them questions, and if you missed the question, you didn't get a chance to get registered to vote. Brian Kemp is doing the same thing by, to me, when you say, if you give somebody some water, that's a crime. He has the same rules, he's back there when they didn't want us to vote. Same rules, same thing. My sister, Lula, had to go through 4 trials because they only tried one of us at a time. She had to go through 4 trials because something that all Brian Kemp had to do is tell the people we had done nothing. He did not have the guts to tell the people we did nothing. Just do the right thing. That's all. You didn't have to lie. Just do the right thing. My sister suffered 4 long trials. She contemplated killing herself because I wanted to be on the Board of Education. How dare, it's not like I was stealing $1 million or $1 trillion. Just wanted to be on the Board of Education to help my community, to do what I did as a teacher. Brian Kemp helped try to break my sister's soul. But we told her, do not allow these people to do what they are doing. It's called voter suppression. You do not have to do this. Not only that, because Brian Kemp did not stop this mess, my friend, Natasha Hill, died because of the extra stress of this. She didn't have to go through this stress. They knew that she was on dialysis when they knocked on her door and told her that she had to come to the jail, get off her dialysis. She was scared. She was scared. She got off her dialysis. And all through her life, before she died, this is all she thought about. Am I going to jail? Isn't that what they did long ago? Isn't that what they told the people to do? That if you do this, Brian Kemp, that's suppression. If you do this, you're going to jail. I sent them to jail, and what makes you think that I would not send you to jail? How dare you, Brian Kemp, come here and do a fundraiser in the town that you tried to destroy 12 people, 1 man and 11 women. 1 is deceased, y'all, because of this voter suppression that Brian Kemp could have stopped. Same Kemp in 2010, same Kemp in 2022. When is the madness going to stop? Go. Beware. Don't be scared. If we can go through this and still stand, you can vote and make Georgia a fair Georgia. Do not allow this kind of intimidation to stop you from changing Georgia. We can't keep going back into where we used to be. We must move forward. In order to move forward, we must elect Stacey Abrams. Now we'll let Ms. Gladys Lee, who's a member of the community.
Thank you, Dr. love every minute of it. You have heard what happened after black women organized to flip the majority white school board. Our story is a direct example of how voter suppression plays out at the local level. For 4 years, the Quitman 10 plus 2 had to undergo constant scrutiny, intimidation, medical issues that are ongoing right now because or as a result of the voter suppression that was brought to us by the then Secretary of State, Brian Kemp, and the now current governor, the same Brian Kemp. I am so excited to be able to speak out and say the only thing you have is your vote. Your vote is your voice. Never, ever allow anyone to take your voice away or deny you the opportunity to participate in free elections. Brian Kemp has shown us who he is. He has come to Quitman, Georgia, where he tried to destroy the lives of 12 people plus all of the citizens to have a fundraiser. You are thumbing your nose at the community. You are saying, in fact, I don't have a heart. I don't have to have a heart or a conscience. I will do what I feel like doing because I am an elected official. But nevertheless, we will not be silent, Brian Kemp. We are taxpayers. We are stakeholders. We are property owners here in Brooks County. I am, as I said, a retired educator. Gave 43 of my years educating the children of Brooks County, some of whom are standing in this line right now as members of the Quitman 10 plus 2. But I was called to this mission, and I will always answer the call. We will not be silent as Georgians. Make your plan to vote early. I'm making my plans, the Lord willing. Early voting starts Monday, October 17th. Plan. Get to ride. Drive yourself. If you have to start early and walk, go to the polls and exercise your right to vote. Now, let's hear from James Maxwell, chairman of the Brooks County Democratic Party.
Hello, 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 everybody. Hello. Hello. We got a lot of work to do. Got a lot to work. I'm James Maxwell, head of the Democratic Party, the first black that we elected to the Board of Commissioner almost 29 years ago. That's right. And we, you understand, have come a long ways, and we got a long ways to go. So I want everyone, you understand, that is able relative to go to the poll on Monday and cast your vote. We must, you understand, keep Georgia what? Blue! We got to keep Georgia blue, you understand? And let me tell you something, my good friend. You got to get Stacey Abrams in there.
Yes,
because when we get her in there, we know that Georgia is going to go in the right direction. So we must get Stacey Abrams in there. So let's go to the poll and let's vote, vote, vote. Thank you.
Thank you all so much for coming here today to speak. We'll allow anyone else from the community that would like to say a few words to come up and do so.
Thank you, Isosa. I just wanted to say, at the time this was happening, I know many of you personally and have known many of you most of my life. So at the time this happened, it was during 2010. I was at Valdosta State University. This was in context right after 2008. And I don't know if you put that into context, but President Obama won this region with untold number of votes. So there was fear in the heart of the Republican Party that they were going to lose the rural black belt of Georgia. And from Georgia, that extends from Augusta / Columbia, South Carolina to Augusta, and then down through in a crescent-shaped moon through Seminole County and on into Alabama and all that. So it's about 623 counties in the southeast United States. Georgia, this is part of it, and the black belt is having voters turn out like they've never had before. And I appreciate you because you didn't let the chilling effect that Governor Kemp tried to place on you and his abuse of power on you stop you from doing the work that you're doing. And you inspired the entire region to continue work in this way. You inspired the entire region to not be fearful of the governors or the Secretary of State's police officers and the State Patrol and the G.B.R. and all those folks. So thank you. Y'all are amazing. I don't know if you see the impact, but it has been exponential. I am truly thankful for your work, and we are truly thankful for your work. And I'll turn it back over to you, Sosa. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Would anyone else like to say a few words?
Yes.
Yes, I'm Gary Christian. Well, a lot of people know me as Cut, and I'm going to be the next Bush County Board member. I'll be waiting on the police. I'm not afraid of the cops, so I'll be waiting for you. But what we need to do as a community, since I've become part of this Democratic Party, we started out with about 50, close to 50 people. And for the last 3 years since I've been there, and I swindled down to maybe 10 people. We as a people got to stick together. We can't do it if we don't stick together here. We got a lot of people here in Bush County just scared, just don't know nothing. I said it, they just don't know nothing. They're not educated. And when I started my journey, I tried to get the people here to get behind me and do some things to change some stuff here, but they're just afraid of change. So as a people, we need to get together and get behind one another and do the right thing. Let's get out and vote. Vote, vote.
My name is Donnie Ware, and I'm running for County Commissioner, Brooks County District 1. And I had 4 principles that I stand by. It's the people, it's the community, it's communication, and definitely the truth. That's all I have to give you. Thank you very much. I need your vote. I need your support. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. And now I know some of the Quitman templates too are happy to take any questions that folks may have. All right, thank you all so much for coming out here today. We very much appreciate it.
Let's get out and vote, people. Let's get out and vote. We got 2 main candidates on the board here. We got Gary Christian for the Board of Education. We got Donna Will for District 1. We want to miss y'all at the polls. We're going to go to work for November 8th. We're going to do it on the 17th Monday. I want to see your face at the polls.
June 2016, so summer before the presidential election, that's when we first learned that the Democratic National Committee, Democratic Party, had been hacked. This was the first story that ran about it in the Washington Post, which also helpfully made clear, based on a forensic analysis that was done by a computer security firm, that it appeared that that hack of the Democratic Party was carried out by Russian government hackers. Well before the disaster of Georgia election security in the 2016 election. In his first full year as Secretary of State in 2010, he sent armed agents door to door in black neighborhoods in Brooks County, Georgia. This was after a big get out the vote effort there among black residents. That big get out the vote effort led to the first ever majority African American school board in their town. Local residents said they'd been motivated that year by teacher layoffs in their school district, teacher layoffs that were really unpopular. And according to one local leader of the voter registration effort, quote, "We'd been bit by the Obama bug." This was 2010. We'd been bit by the Obama bug, and we knew it was time for a change in Brooks County as well. They brought criminal charges against 12 local black residents who'd helped in the Get Out the Vote effort. They brought charges against those 12 residents for things like bringing envelopes containing completed absentee ballots to a mailbox. They criminally charged this group of local residents with more than 100 election law violations, including dozens of felonies. They put them on trial. Or dropped in every single one. And the Attorney General of the state subsequently had to issue a statement clarifying that actually none of the actions those African-American local residents in Brooks County had been charged with, none of the things they were charged with were actually illegal. Mailing in absentee ballots is not a crime. Registering your neighbors to vote is not a crime. But tell that to the people who Brian Kemp sent his armed agents door to door after in 2010. That's Brian Kemp, Georgia Secretary of State.
Romans 8 and 7 says, because the carnal mind is enmity against God, for it is not subject to the law of God, neither indeed can be. To God be the glory.